The following is a presentation of Pod Media Works.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another episode of the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, where we take a movie from the 80s or 90s that Larry probably hasn't seen and discuss it for you. I'm Scott.
Hey, it's Larry.
And this week we have a movie that is very near and dear to my heart. It is 1986's Critters. This movie started my obsession with horror. I can pinpoint a lot of stuff about my personality that came from this movie. So I'm so excited that we get to talk to it today. Probably won't be very happy with myself at the end of this episode after we discuss it, but still, I am super happy for us to handle this, Larry. I make fun of you because a lot of these is movies that you haven't seen. Had you seen this movie before?
Surprise, surprise. No, I thought I had. Right, I'm familiar with the look of the Critters, but no, I hadn't seen this at all.
Oh,
Any
amazing.
of them. Like, right, there's like 5 Critters movies, I think, including one that came out just a couple years ago.
One recent came out. There's like a TV series now. There's as with every good horror franchise, it grew to the point of ridiculousness, but it always has to have that origin. That's kind of a simple origin, I have to say. Like this movie is, but I don't want to get into that because I'm going to make you do that, Larry.
Yeah.
Because as a person who hasn't seen it for the first time, let's go through and describe to me. Tell me, what is the story of Critters?
All right, so here's my take on Critters. Right, so they're the Critters guys. They're these aliens, which I didn't realize, but they are bad aliens, right? They're prisoners. They're being transported to jail, but they escape. And in that escape, they steal one of the fastest ships with tons and tons of fuel, and they could go anywhere in the galaxy, and they end up at Earth. And then there's these 2 bounty hunters that are working with the police or whatever. And shout out to Drew. And the bounty hunters are chasing them. They follow them to Earth, and they land on the Critters land on this farm in this small town and basically terrorize this family. Right? They attack the mom, they attack the dad, they kill the boyfriend, they blow up the house. It's basically centered around this one family who lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I would say that's a good, we'll call that the good Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, I even got the deaths in there, or the attacks in there.
Yeah, exactly. So, star-studded cast, by the way. We got... Yeah. You say the boyfriend dies. Do you remember who played the boyfriend, or did you even recognize who that was?
Didn't recognize him, and I didn't look it up.
You didn't see this. Okay. That was played by none other than Billy Zane. Probably
really?
The most, I'm going to say second most known person out of that. Because
he was a big deal for a while. He was in Titanic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this was an early film for him.
Yeah.
But the other one that I was surprised is reprising her role as the mom of the kid who finds aliens is Dee Wallace, who was the mom from E.T., comes again to play the mom in Critters.
I didn't recognize her either. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then, as you said, Emmett Walsh, who has been in like hundreds of movies, he plays the inept sheriff. As is tradition, I think he's played that character quite a few times.
Yeah.
From my recollection here,
he looks the same. And we were looking up his IMDb page right before we started, and he's in a ton of things. I don't even remember what I know him best from, because he's been in like so many things. Yeah. Shout out to Manny, who's in the chat. What's up, Manny?
Manny, what's going on, man?
And Billy Zane, it looks like it was his second movie, because he was also in Back to the Future.
Okay.
Like Yeah. Back to the Future, he played somebody called Match. So I'm going to say this is his first like major role.
So if his name is Match, he's got to be one of Biff's buddies.
Probably, yeah.
Right. So
he's just some kid.
Second movie. Now the other one too is the young kid is played by Scott Grimes. Now, have you seen the Orville on
no, but
Fox, or have you ever watched American Dad and heard Steve, the kid's voice? That's Scott Grimes. That's the guy. That's the kid. The guy who plays the kid in there.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, I didn't. I'm not a big American Dad fan.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's cool.
Not so much either. But it was one of those things where he was a kid, and I was like, I know I've seen that kid before.
It's cool that he's still doing stuff. Like, that's awesome.
Okay, so let's kind of go into the movie because I remember this. I've said.
Well, what's your story? You said you've seen it before.
That's what I'm getting into. So I can always say that when everybody asks, like, what's the first movie that actually terrified you as a kid? It's this movie. I remember this movie popping up and being like, the critters, they terrify my nightmare. I would not go down. Like, my room was on the second floor, like in the basement of the house, and there was like a hallway that was dark, and I wouldn't go to my room for like a week because I was like, they're in there. Like,
you're gonna have those beady red eyes.
Those little beady eyes. Those little things are down in that hallway here. So like that was one of the things where I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And so it was this movie, and I was telling you, I was probably 2 or 3 when this came out. So I'm guessing rental on VHS or whatever. I was probably maybe 5 when I saw this, and it's still stuck in my brain to this day. This movie, but to me, again, back then it was way more terrifying than it actually is. Like, there's not a whole. It's not really that scary now.
I mean, their size of like the critters are the size of a mini basketball.
Yeah,
that's kind of my issue.
They are literally the size of a football.
Sure, football works too, right? They're little. Like, you could probably just like kick them across the room and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But apparently they can jump really good, and they have those really cool like porcupine pins that they shoot at you that have poison.
Yeah. But only the dad gets hit with like several times. Like, he is not good at avoiding those things. Like. Until later on, when one of them grows to apparently like full grown like person size, then you're like, all right, that one actually poses a problem. So going back though, this is where I'm going to say I'm not going to like myself for this. I was actually kind of disappointed with the movie, or like rewatching it now, because 5-year-old brain, what I remember of this, and then what showed up on screen was vastly different.
Okay.
Like 100% to me, I was like, this is not terrifying at all. Like, why was I like? I know I was afraid of it as a little kid. I was 5, and there were little monsters on the screen eating people. But like going back into it, I was like, this is not that bad. Like, it's not actually that scary.
They really don't even show them that much.
Yeah.
Especially like the first half of the movie. Like, right, it's keeping the mystery. But yeah, even then, once they show them, it's often just right. They jump on you and attack your neck or shoulder, and they just have this ball of fuzz on your shoulder. It's not too terrifying. Yeah, there's some blood and all that, but it's not super terrifying.
So for this movie, just so you know, I always thought it was way more, but apparently I think I'm attributing some of the kills from the sequel to it, which we'll have to address on this one as well, now that we've seen the first one. But the body count so far is only 1 cow, a bunch of chickens, and 2 people are all that get eaten in this movie. The cop gets pulled under the car, and Billy Zane. Those are the 2 people that get eaten in this.
Yeah, because all the main family, I was surprised they get injured, but they're all alive at the end.
The dad gets bitten several times.
I love the dad, by the way. The dad was great. He was just like, you could kind of tell like the actor wasn't super into it. And, like, I love the way he delivered his lines. The dad is my favorite character.
The lazy delivery lines is like, I'm in this stupid film with these little rubber monsters jumping on my neck. Like you said, you could tell that he was under the same thing. He's like, I don't just kick it. Like,
it was good, man.
Yeah. But weird thing about the critters though is they actually have their own language and they talk. So there's subtitled parts where they're plotting So they have a little area of, clever girl where they can, kind of coordinate a little bit here. So, yeah, it's not that scary, but it's more comical. Like, I think they really, rewatching it, I forgot how much they laid into the whole like comedy horror genre. It really reminded me of the first Leprechaun that we watched. Rewatching through this, where you had Charlie, who's the kind of the idiot that everybody drunk that everybody gets there, and he's out like he's hired to work on that farm, but he's out there shooting firecrackers with
playing around with the slingshot
with the kid, and he's like a 50-year-old alcoholic man.
It was weird,
right?
I didn't like him. He was a bad character.
Yeah,
so you're gonna be real, talk to him through his feelings.
Yeah, so you're gonna be real sad, Larry, because he's one of the few characters that continually shows up in every Critters movie.
Oh, great.
So,
not looking because
he goes off at the end. He goes off with the bounty hunters right at the end. So we have to talk about the bounty hunters though.
Bounty hunters are pretty cool.
The bounty hunters are amazing. Because when you first see them, they're just like these blank-faced humanoid.
They're
green
like
humanoid.
Green glowing face.
Yeah. And then they look through, and one guy puts on a thing that says like Earth Archive, I think is what the disc or whatever says, and he puts it in, and it plays this music video of Jonathan Steele, the made-up superstar of the 1980s that they decided for this movie.
Yeah, like
which, by the way, the actor did that music video that he watches specifically for this movie, and he transforms into that the actor. His name is Ugg, by the way.
I see that.
Yeah. And then Lee, the other one, can't really decide on who he wants to turn into, so he becomes several people throughout the movie, including the dead cop, a preacher, Charlie at one point, and they go throughout the town, just they cause more havoc than the Critters did. By the way, like they caused more damage. Looking for the Critters.
They messed up the church. They tore up the bowling alley and shot a bunch of people. Yeah, they definitely caused more damage. Can we talk about that transformation scene for when Ugg becomes Johnny Steele? That prolonged,
just where it's like face is like melting, and then
melting away,
and it like melts away, and then reforms back into.
It felt like it took like 5 minutes for him to transform from green face to heavy metal superstar guy.
Yeah,
so bad.
So it doesn't make sense though, because later on when Ugg keeps doing it.
I know.
Instant.
It's so
it's within seconds. It's like, oh, I'm a different person now.
They had to establish. They had to establish how it works. Maybe in 1986, people didn't understand how shape shifting and you could transform to a different face. Maybe that really wasn't a thing yet. But I mean, now
my question is, if that's how you your species obviously can shapeshift, right? That's your species' thing. Why does it involve their actual face melting off first?
I don't know.
That seems like that's got to be painful. Why would it
looked painful?
If something I did melted my face off and then rebuilt it from the ground up, I'd be like, I probably don't want to do that no more.
No,
I'd be done. I'm going to say the green glowy face forever.
Yeah. Screw you guys.
Yeah, no, it is a trip that this movie starts and has a long portion of it at the beginning in space, in a space prison.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was so sci-fi too. Yeah. That was a nice surprise.
And the Critters have the official name of Krites, right? Yeah. And they escape and they fly to somehow make it to Earth because they're hungry and need to get food. And they're insatiable little demons.
I guess.
Yeah, right. They're set up. Surprisingly, the end of the movie is saved by I guess we'll call that a cherry bomb, right? It's just a big ass firecracker.
Yeah. Because earlier in the movie, the kid is named Brad. I think he was making homemade fireworks.
Yeah.
And so he, surprise, he uses one to blow up the alien ship. It was a pretty big homemade firework, but it wasn't big enough to blow up a spaceship.
Yeah, that's what I love. It's like the combination of a Molotov cocktail thrown by Charlie and his whiskey, plus the firecracker equals ginormous explosion on a ship, apparently. When before a same size firecracker, when he shoves it in one of the critters' mouths, just blows it up.
It didn't even blow him up, right? It just
blew its stomach out.
Yeah, he blows up his insides, and he just tips over.
It's like, ow.
Yeah,
and smoke comes out and dies, right?
Yeah,
right.
But then it blows up a spaceship. So
then it blows up a spaceship.
Whatever.
So it doesn't make sense. Did you see the quick ET reference though?
I did. But did the doll or whatever in the kid's bedroom? Yeah.
Yeah, and they're making fun of it.
It's so much better now that I know that the mom from ET was in it.
Yeah, right.
That was good. I like the random pop culture references, like when they're thrown in, especially 80s movies to 80s movie.
Yeah.
Did you see the dad's bowling shirt? It had like a Ghostbusters style like logo, but with bowling pin instead of the ghost. That was pretty
no
legit
pins,
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same color, like brown as the beige crew. I don't know what it called. Yeah, the Ghostbuster suit. I don't know what you'd call that.
I don't know. Uniform.
Well, the color, right? Like
yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I guess
there were two kind of pop culture references.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Which was pretty cool. And then there's another one that I don't know if you caught that I very much enjoyed because it came out around the same time. Do you ever remember the movie Ghoulies?
No,
you've probably seen it's another. Again, I love 80s horror films. They're the best. It's the one that you saw in Blockbuster with the little like monster coming out the toilet. On the cover of the VHS.
Yeah,
when the critter hides in the toilet and he pops his head out, he does the same motion. They basically recreate that scene back in this one.
And
then the bounty hunter blows up the critter shoots the thing and kills it.
Yeah, according to the Google, Ghoulies came out 1 year prior, right? So 85.
Yeah. So it's kind of a good little, kind of a similar thing, right? Just one family alone getting attacked by these little creatures.
It's horror movie standard, man.
Right?
Like you said, that's what Leprechaun kind of was. Like that's kind of what what was that really bad movie? Troll 2. It's kind of like that too, right? Like, it's just one group out in the middle of nowhere. They're stuck. The phone doesn't work. There's no cell phones because it's the 80s. They're just trapped to be terrorized until they figure out a way to defeat these goblins and trolls and whatever else,
space aliens,
critters,
and this one I do I'm gonna save this because I think this is gonna be my totally rad moment, but there's an actual scene that I do enjoy
let's do our totally rad moments.
All right, so give me a second here. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up here. Let's get this here. So as is tradition, every movie, we always have the parts that we love and the parts we don't like. We call those the totally rad and totally bogus moment. I'm going to start with the totally rad because I want to talk about this here. So let's do the totally rad moment.
Like totally rad.
All right.
Boom, I lost my screen here. All right, there we go. So for mine, it's when there's a scene I think I know you're going to bring up, so that we got to bring that you're going to go through because you already did a little bit, but it's when the mom blasts one of the critters with a shotgun and the other ones are like, "Oh shit!" Like That's the thing at the bottom where they like.
That was one of the few times they were talking, but right. Yeah. The one critter was saying in their language like, "Hey, they've got weapons," and the other one's like, "Who cares?" And then the one who said "Who cares" got blown up. That was pretty funny.
Got blown up like, oh,
right.
It makes that little, like I said, it adds that little layer of comedy about these things that are the monsters, but they can talk to each other and they have those little, pick up the ET. Who are you? Like that whole thing. Like that scene made me actually legit laugh because I had completely forgot about that one.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Larry, what about you?
Oh, so mine, we talked about it a little bit. Mine has to be Johnny Steele.
Yes,
just
I knew that we were both going to pick the Johnny Steele.
All of Johnny Steele, man. Like, so he gets,
the long
you mentioned
hair.
Yeah, he's a mid '80s rock star. Bruce Springsteen, I don't know, Huey Lewis, like I don't know other '80s rock stars. Billy Joel, like he's this guy icon. But like you first learn about him during that bounty hunter video when the bounty hunters are learning everything they need to know about Earth, and he comes. I really like how he came up two more times more subtly. Right, the kid's in his room because he's being punished for messing with his sister, and he turns on the radio and it's playing the Johnny Steele song. And then the mom's downstairs later watching TV and it's the Johnny Steele video on the TV again. Like I just appreciate the fact that they took the joke and they just kept pushing it in your face.
Right, like all music. They paid to have Terrence, what's his name? Terrence Mann, right? They paid to have that actor be Johnny Steele and create a music video and a song in which he sang. So they're like, if we're going to do that, we're going to damn well play that every single time.
It's
like, I do enjoy that.
Yeah, that was good. And just the fact that the alien turned into him, and then I thought that especially the kids would like freak out a little bit more when they saw the bounty hunter with that face, but they just acknowledged it and then kind of moved on.
For the sake that like he goes throughout the town to several different places.
Yeah, nobody even cares.
Nobody mentions it. That like, are you Johnny Steele? Like very less people than you would think would say that for a rock. Like,
yeah, I mean, right? If somebody nowadays, if somebody like an alien came down and transformed as like I don't know Jay-Z, and Jay-Z's walking through the town, like people would freak out.
They'd be like, with cell phones, they'd be like, Jay-Z's in my town. Click, 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 click.
Yeah,
he just threw a bowling ball through a wall. Like, click,
but
click,
nobody
nobody
cares in Critters Town.
Yeah, no one does.
And I looked up the name of the song because I couldn't remember it. It was Power of the Night.
Power of the Night.
Such a good song, man.
Yes. All right. So you're totally rad is really just Power of the Night.
Yeah.
Everything about Power of the Night.
Yep. The song.
Okay. So good. So those are the things that we both thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm glad. I wanted to hear your take on Power of the Night. That was going to be my totally rad, so I had to pick a different one.
Well done.
So that we could get some variety. But with the good always comes a bad, and there's that totally bogus moment.
Ugh, totally bogus.
Larry, what's your totally bogus moment?
Mine is going to be when Billy Zane, I forget his character name, Billy Zane, Steve, yeah, right? When Steve, the boyfriend, is rolling around in the hay with April, right? She has to drive his car like around the corner and be like, all right, come on, Steve, we're going to go make out in my barn. But Steve's like, no, I don't think this is a good idea, April. But obviously Steve falls for it. And then when the when the critters show up, right, there's an explosion and everything kind of shakes and they think it's an earthquake. And April's like, I can feel the earth move. And Steve's like, already?
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm like, that was my favorite thing when they're like making out and there's clearly an earthquake and they
turn it into a sex pun or whatever.
Yeah, they're just oblivious. I like how the parents kind of just forgot about April for the majority of the movie too. Right, she's off.
Well, they're probably thinking she's off with Billy Zane and his. Yeah, was that is it a Corvette, right, that he had?
Yeah, I'm not sure
that he's like, driving around in. So
yeah, fancy.
That's
Billy Zane in the barn. That is my totally
Billy Zane in the barn. The totally bogus moment.
How about you, man?
Okay, so it's the very end of the movie.
Okay.
Now, to one of the ways that they get rid of all the critters and stuff in this one is partially they blow up the family's house. Right, the family's house gone, blown up, boom, everything's gone. The bounty hunter has like a remote control at the end. Like they show up, they're like, oh, well, let's put this right. And they do a thing and they reverse the house explosion and put it exactly as the way it was at the end. It was so like, wait, what? Like you can do that? Have you been doing that throughout the town? Like where did that, first off, how does that work? Where does that come from? And why would you actually need that?
I don't know. It was weird. And like I liked it. I appreciated the scene and the backwards playing camera footage that they used, like slow motion.
Right. They clearly just reversed the model getting blown up and like
clearly
and put it all back together.
In a very slow scene again. Like they spent way too much time on that, but whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like
it's like, gee, thanks, mister, when they like fixed it out. Like,
but you're right. They called them on the little fake cell phone thing. I thought that was just going to be it, but no. Then the spaceship flies off, so we know that they're still there. It was was weird, but I guess they wanted to have a happy ending, right? The family needed that closure. They needed a place to live, man.
They needed a sequel. They needed a sequel, and they needed somewhere for the sequel to take place because you saw the eggs in this. Now, I have not actually seen this personally myself because I do not own the original Critters DVD release. But here's my random movie fact of this. There is an alternate ending to this movie.
What?
If anybody has that, please send it to me because I tried to find it online and everyone have been like copyright flagged that I was able to find.
Yeah.
Like the people have posted up and they dropped it down. So there is an alternate ending to this movie, but no one has described it. I have no idea what it is, but it was on the old DVD. You had to hit like a button like 5 times to move the cursor over to the critter's eyes on the screen. And there is an alternate ending when you click on the thing's eyes.
I like it. Like a secret alternate ending too.
Alternate ending.
That's crazy.
But this movie is not popular enough these days for people to actually have that posted up online. A lot of people know about it. Like Manny, if you can find the movie, it's on the DVD release of just that one. It's not on the 5
Blu-ray.
movie pack, Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it might be on that, just hidden somewhere too. But like it's for sure on the original like DVD that there was a secret ending that I really want to see because it's acknowledged it exists, but no one actually says like this is what's different or this is what's alternate about it. Right?
Weird.
So that's the random movie trivia about the movie that I have. I always have to have some random weird thing about the movies that we watch.
That was a good one.
So
that's the first like DVD bonus footage. That
right. Because it's something that I want to see. I want to find this, and I can't. Like I spent today searching online trying to find this, and I got a list of all like the most like weird like alternate endings you didn't know existed, but none of those describe Critters. Or they just say that it was hidden on the DVD. Like all I know is it was hidden on the DVD.
So what you're saying is we need to make a video and put it up on YouTube, at least describing what this alternate ending is once we find it.
Yes, once we find it.
Because somebody else, there's other Scotts out there in the world who are looking for this alternate ending and they can't find it. They don't want to buy. We don't want to buy the DVD off Amazon or eBay because that's too much work. Yeah. Like they just want somebody on the internet to tell them what happened. That could be us.
Right.
We'll do it. I'll find it.
Now, we have a sequel to this movie to talk about because it's coming up here. Manny said, can this be found on the 4-pack DVD or just a single original? I think it's just a single original, but if you have the 4-pack DVD, you might want to give it a try. I cannot confirm or deny anything. This is, like I said, this is the most cryptic, like alternate ending I've ever seen for a shitty horror movie from the 80s. So there's a sequel, right? So they set it up for a sequel. We do get the return of Brad, Charlie, Ugg, and Lee to come back for the sequel. So next time that we decide to pick up a stupid horror movie, I'm going to say I vote for Critters 2 to keep this trilogy going because
maybe in a couple weeks once we get closer to October. Yeah,
for October for Halloween and horror movies, we'll do Critters 2 because that was the one I also remember way more. Again, they ramp it up. There's more death. There's more destruction. There's more critters. So we need to watch we need to do the second one.
Alternate ending update on eBay. I have found the Spanish version that has the alternate ending on DVD. That doesn't really do us a lot of good because it's in Espanol.
Well, yo hablo un poquito español, so.
But yeah, I mean, it's an alternate ending of a horror movie. I think we could piece it together. However, it's coming from the UK, and shipping alone is $22.
Oh no!
I feel like that's more of an investment than we're.
No, I'm sure that I can find this at a Goodwill. There's not a lot of people that have.
We gotta hit up the Goodwill. I saw that there's a Goodwill by the Walmart. We gotta make a road trip.
So we haven't gone through and done our ratings yet, though.
Oh, no, we haven't.
So as is tradition, I'm going to preface this. So when we rate these movies, we're not rating them based on the total quality of the movie. We're talking about how well these movies hold up and did they entertain us as well today as they would have back in 1986. Larry, what is the rating that you give for Critters?
Oh, man, I guess I'm feeling generous because I'm going to give it a 3. It was okay. I didn't mind watching it. Like, it wasn't the greatest movie ever. Like you said, it really wasn't scary, but I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give it a 3.
It's definitely one that you can sit down and watch in a setting. Like, you don't. It's not like bad where you're like, oh, I gotta turn this off and come back to it later. Yeah, I agree. I'm actually, so I went into this with 5s in my mind because of the whole like nostalgia and like, oh, this movie. But I'm going to go down. I'm revising it. 3. It is. It's good. They did for what they wanted to do with it and the kind of horror comedy aspect of it. They did really good. So yeah, a 3 for me. So we're good. We're in. We've been in agreement on the last couple. This is getting weird. We're not good. We're
gonna have to mix it up.
So that's good.
All right. Quick DVD update number 2. $6.39 plus free shipping. We can own English version of Critters that, according to the back, right, it has features like widescreen, full screen, 5.1 surround sound, and hidden alternate ending.
And I know how to get to said alternate ending. All right.
So we will buy it now, and we will follow up
next episode or whenever we get that in. We'll update you, and we'll tell everybody. Update. Here's what the Critters alternate ending is.
I want to do a YouTube video where we describe it. We're not going to show it, right? We're not going to play it because copyrights. Do Line Cinema might come after us, but I want to verbally describe shot by shot the alternate ending and see how many people want to watch it.
Yeah. All right. I think we can do that.
All right.
So, okay. So, is there anything last that you want to say about the movie Critters, Larry?
No,
is there any last thoughts?
It was a good pick, dude. Because, like I said, I enjoyed it. I hadn't seen it, so I know it didn't exactly hold up as good as you thought it might for you. But it was a perfect movie for the Totally Rad Movie Podcast.
Yeah, like I said, it had this in my mind. It was this awesomely horror movie, and it just was not that. But it still ended up being quite entertaining. Yeah. I highly recommend anybody who wants a good campy 80s horror movie about some silly football-sized aliens that bite people on the shoulder. Go watch Critters. So yeah, from that, Larry, do your thing.
Yeah, on a positive note, Scott and I are both officially moved to Austin.
So this should start coming back.
So I think we can I think we can get back on our bi-weekly rotation. Shout out to the Totally Rad Movie Podcast because we just had our 1-year anniversary. And even though there were some hiccups and some breaks and a hiatus, we're still around. So this is what, episode 18?
18, yeah.
18 in a year. Not bad for a little side project thing that we're just kind of doing for fun. So
where we watch movies and make fun of them. Yeah, I think 18 is good.
Yeah, so well done, Scott. I'm glad this thing's still alive. We made it a year. That is definitely an accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah, most podcasts don't get that length. And we have 2 that have gone that distance now.
It's pretty crazy, man.
That I am pleased to hear this.
But yeah, if you want to know what we're going to watch next on the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, you should follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
I want to do a comedy, so throw out your suggestions.
Comedy would be good.
A comedy would be good. I say we do an 80s comedy. But yeah, sorry, I interrupted, Larry.
You
Go on, do your shill.
So if you want to know, because we haven't chosen yet, we're going to watch next. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Totally Rad Pod. And if you didn't know, Scott and I are part of the STS Guys. We do a weekly pop culture podcast live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook every Saturday night. You can follow us at STS Guys on Instagram and Twitter and find out what we're going to talk about next week.
All right. So Manny has brought up a movie, The Jerk. Now, in keeping with tradition of having an actor from a prior movie or whatever that show back
typically
up,
happens. Yeah,
that typically happens. The sheriff from Critters is the madman in The Jerk. So if we can find The Jerk, we'll put that on. The problem we have is like we want all these movies, but then we can't find them without having to buy them, and I'm a cheap bastard. So if we can find The Jerk, Manny, we'll do The Jerk, because that's another movie that I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, and it's not just being cheap. There's so many other options. Why am I going to spend $5 or $10 to buy something when I can just watch like another Steve Martin movie or something, right?
Exactly. But maybe we'll do a something like so. We'll keep going with that.
Yeah, I like it.
So cool. Well, so for episode 18 of the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, I am Scott.
Hey, it's Larry.
And everybody, we will see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.